Hello, welcome to
You're so
VO
chipper.
Journey Academy Live. Yay! Trying to be chipper. We've got Snowmageddon coming, maybe.
Maybe.
So we'll see. I mean, I'm a little more north than you.
You are.
So I
Yeah.
think, but we did have like projected like 2 feet, but now it keeps going down. Now it keeps going down and it's more like ice, which is more scary. Like I would rather have the snow because the
Ice is,
freezing
yeah.
rain scares me because it gets on
That's
the
what we're
trees
in
and
for.
the
Mhm.
the power lines and bust stuff, and when you
Yep.
lose power. And I'm just like, every time this happens, I'm like, I know I need a backup generator, and I don't ever get one. I feel like I've been talking about it for 5 years.
It's funny you say that because I was just looking into getting like a Jackery,
Oh, yeah.
for the house, kind of the same thing. And I'm just like, okay, well, here it is. All righty then.
Every
I know.
time I'm like, I should get one, and people are like,
I
you should get
know.
this one, and I just don't.
I know.
Oh, it's very
I
frustrating.
know. Ay,
But
ay, ay.
anyways, it's
Hey, Hoosers.
good to see
We're here.
everybody. Of course, this is brought to you by VO Journey Academy, and we are. What are we chatting about today, Gabby?
We had a note from Friday. There was some conversation about coaches and coaching styles and coaching methods. And I mean, yeah, it's a great topic. Why not?
Yeah,
We're
absolutely.
coaches.
We are coaches. That is a good point. So I think, some of the questions are, oh my goodness, home from a trip from Alaska
Enjoy the weather.
to Tampa. That's
Mhm.
what I'm talking about. And I think, what are questions that you typically get or that you see? General
Yeah.
questions about coaching. There are a bunch.
Oh my God,
And
so
I think
many.
it can go in all kinds of different directions too, right? Like positive and
Yeah.
negative. But what are
Yeah.
the kind of or let's maybe take it from point of, what is your first place when talking to people about coaches? Like, what do you say?
I I think the first thing that I try to ascertain from people is what their goals are and what it is they're looking to achieve, because there's no such thing, I don't believe, as a one size fits all coach in voiceover. And
Mhm.
and so one of the things that I first try to do is go, okay, if this person is truly a beginner, right? No preconceived knowledge, no prior information, then they have to get the foundation down. And when I talk about the foundation, right, it's like prerequisites. It's like going to college and you got to get your prereqs out of the way.
Mm.
So that is such a big thing. And not every coach does that. So that's sort of the first major hurdle is, do you have a plan in place to get your prerequisites out of the way, to learn the industry as a whole, to kind of gain your footing? So that's where obviously things like a VO's journey come in handy. You have, and you and I have been teaching beginners, I mean, combined forever.
Yeah.
So that's such a big thing because not everyone is equipped to really help people from that first step.
I completely agree. It is, as we do this longer and longer, Gabby, I think it's so evident, right, that of course it seems like it's makes sense, but we forget,
Mhm.
like, we're all in different parts of our journey, right?
But
And
for a lot of people, I think it doesn't make sense. I think they forget this part. So, we see people who are like, "Oh, I want to get into animation, so I took an animation class," and they were either
right,
so lost or so sort of in
right.
the weeds, because then they find out, well, what are all these things people are talking about, and gear and DAWs and studio, and they're so ill-equipped with that foundational material that the class was kind of wasted on them. That's the hard part. It's like taking trigonometry when you haven't even learned algebra. How does that work?
The
You know?
That's it. No, that is, I mean, that is really good points. And perfect example, I remember when I first started on voiceover, I had a $40 microphone, and it was all I knew at the time because I
Mhm.
didn't know anything else.
Right.
And I did, so for a period of time, And the reason why I'm saying this is, for a period of time, I thought, right, because I didn't know any better, that my editing, my
Mhm.
mastering, was causing my $40 microphone to not sound like
Oh,
a
interesting.
$4,000 microphone,
Right. Right.
right? I mean, like, just and this is just one little, thing
Yeah.
of an ocean of things that we as voice actors and business owners go through. I didn't know. You know what I mean? And as time went on and I got better mics, and I upgraded and my space changed, I learned. And then after coaching so many people, that like I always say, for example, your gear will get you as much as your gear will get you.
Yeah.
And some people don't like that. There's some people who are like, my $40 microphone can get me, a national spot and everything. And I'm just, and I wish it were so, but it
Yeah.
really does make a difference. So I guess the point of all this, right, is you're right.
Mhm.
There are so many nuances that you don't know, and the coach you work with there, or like for us, the academy. I mean, that's the point of the academy. We put together, like, you, me, and all our other coaches, and set it up, and Angela, and so forth, to be able to teach people who are like literally
Yeah.
haven't even bought their first piece
Right.
of equipment,
Babe in the woods. Yeah, for
right,
sure.
to people who are who are ready for maybe an agent now, or who are ready to start their own direct marketing
Yes.
campaign. I mean, I think you're right out of the gate. And I mean, you're right, because I remember too, I wanted to do voiceovers for Blizzard. I wanted to be on, World of Warcraft. I wanted to do voiceovers for that,
Yeah.
and I had no, I mean, like, it's just funny to me. I had no idea. Like, I didn't realize that there's no way that I would be doing voiceovers for World of Warcraft now that I know what I know, from my home in Virginia and my hobo fort.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you will go to them.
Yeah.
They will
Yeah, yeah,
fly
yeah,
you
yeah,
to
yeah.
LA, wherever they are.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but I didn't know any of this, so I'm calling up customer service.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, I give myself credit for, like, trying something, but
Well,
the point is, you don't know what you don't know.
right. So that's really such a huge part of the first process. And even within that, I go so far as to break it down even further. I'm like, because as a beginner, there's three parts to the industry. You've got performance, you have tech, so studio gear, editing, all of that, and you have business. And you've got marketing and selling and branding and all of that. So it is a lot, and not all coaches are prepared in all of these areas. So, like, for instance, I'm looking at our questions, right? Professor Tracy, good morning from Rochester. Good morning.
Good morning.
She said, what type of teaching do you do? Will you remote into my computer and show me stuff? So that's a fantastic question. Now I'm assuming she's talking about the technical side, the tech end, right? And what's funny to me about that is, if somebody were to ask me that question, I'd be like, nope, I
Right,
will not do that.
if you
And
asked me
you
that question, I was like,
will.
I just did this yesterday with
Yes.
another student of mine, where, you can I can take over control of your computer,
Yes.
and, do a variety of things with your
Yes.
DAW. Yeah.
And there it is. There's the difference in different teachers and different skill sets. Now, if somebody comes to me and asks me that, I have you, and I've got a backup of another person who I would gladly refer and say, connect with them. They'll help you do this stuff. But again, coaches can't be experts in everything the same way voice actors aren't experts in everything. So
Right.
that's such a big thing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think so, like, if someone comes to me and they're like, listen, I'm really interested in learning about how to brand myself effectively, and to really, double down on my auditioning, I'm going to send them to Gabby,
Yeah.
especially in commercials. Do you know what I mean? Like, because that's Gabby's sweet spot, where I like to spend more towards the audiobooks.
And something that I've noticed, and it annoys me to no end, I'll be honest. I wish there were more coaches like us that do that create a network, that develop friendships with other coaches, and that utilize people as a collective for the benefit of their students. I see way too many coaches that are like, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. And I'm like, but can you? Can you really, like, to what proficiency, you know? And that kind of drives me bonkers
Mhm.
because I see a lot of people crossing over and, even things like doing demos and in areas where I'm like, that's not even an area you excel in.
Right.
Why are you teaching that? So I'm a big believer in an educator has to know their own strengths and weaknesses and has to have that knowledge to, because if you're not referring a student, if you're not helping them, something's wrong. Something's
Yeah,
wrong, you
I
know?
agree. I totally. And here's some other so here's some let's go into like if you are now looking for a coach to, you know, there's I think there's a few there's even more stuff I think that I
Mm,
look for. One, what kind of what kind of coaching or what kind of interactions do you work well with? You know what I mean? That's a big
yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it also opens up the question of, are you looking for a mentor? Are you looking for a coach? Are you looking for a teacher?
Yes. Yes.
Because those are
You were talking about
very,
that the other day, right? Like
yeah,
coaching and teaching, they don't mean the same to everyone.
they don't.
Sadly, but they
So
don't.
many people like, right, like this idea now of like life coaching and business coaching. But what does that really mean? When we think of a coach, we think of somebody who knows the thing, knows the subject matter, but is also assuming that the person they're working with has the knowledge of the subject matter too. And they're just helping you to improve, right? They're helping you to get better. There are some people who are really coming in like, I need a teacher. I need
Right.
somebody to educate me on all of this stuff because I don't know it yet.
And
So,
you can really tell that difference. I think something that like Gabby and I really we always talk about every week, and we're
yeah.
always looking through with VO Journey Academy, just because that's what we do,
Mm-hmm.
is the importance of, good pedagogy, right? Understanding, and a lot of what people we work with too have been teachers
Yeah.
who are still teachers or who have been
Yeah.
teachers. And there's just something to be said about, being able to, that doesn't mean if you've not been a teacher, right? That doesn't mean you can't teach, but
No.
there is a lot of people out there who have done voiceover for like a year or two, and then they're trying to be coaches. And it's yeah, that's a whole nother topic, right? Is like
Well, it
checking in
is.
on who you're actually going to be a coach with. Like, are they actually someone that you should be looking to for advice?
The worse the economy is, the more we see that
Yeah,
situation. The more
yeah.
we see that situation of novice at best voice actors stepping up into the coaching chair. And it can be dangerous. I think I think on one hand, if you're taking on like the mentor role and you're helping people to where that's fine, but to call yourself an educator, that's where it can be kind of dicey. I can only name on one hand, right, that's it, the number of coaches that I know who are also professional educators,
Mhm.
and you and I are on that list, and it's kind of scary. There's not many.
That is, and
So
I I think that it's a unique experience, and I do recommend it for everybody
mhm.
to, you know, try out different
Oh,
coaches.
for sure.
I mean, because you can definitely learn things
Mhm.
from a variety, of different people. I've always
Yeah.
said that. Um, but there's also something, like, so the next thing too is to look at, I think, what are you trying to accomplish, and does that coach match what you were trying to accomplish? Like,
Mhm.
and that was a big point of a VO Journey Academy that I learned, and that's why, like, I wanted to work with you, Gabby, and we
Mhm. Mhm.
now work with a variety of other coaches like
Yeah.
Angela and Bonnie and Melissa and things. And there's even more people who we are starting to want to be a part of VO Journey Academy, who bring all of these specialties in certain areas
Yes.
that our community, our students want to do,
Yeah.
right? And I think that if you are going into wanting to work with a coach and they are specialists in character work and you want to do commercial work, it doesn't mean that they can't help you in some way, but they're not going to be necessarily like because they're not going to be playing in the same sandbox.
Yeah. And the problem is just that those sandboxes are so different that this is where we see so much confusion with beginners in voice acting. We see people are just like, this person tells me one thing, then I take another class.
Mhm.
This person says something completely different. I don't know what's going on. And it's like, oh boy. And usually it really does come down to because their prerequisites were not achieved first, and they're just conflicting because sometimes you're not even in different sandboxes, you're in different playgrounds. I mean, it's crazy.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's an important thing to note. I'm just looking at the
Dylan did have does
comments.
VOJ have a coach that specializes in animation character work?
Sure do.
Funny you should mention that, Dylan. Because tonight, so we have a phenomenal, I think, voice actress who's done. Gabby, you would
Oh
know,
my
you've known
god,
her way longer than me, but her
I
name's
have
Bonnie
I
Williams.
stalked her. Like a creepy weirdo. I met Bonnie because I came across her material. I saw that at the time we were both in North Carolina. Now she's back in LA, which is her hometown. And I reached out to her and I was just like, I think you're awesome. And like we just formed a friendship from there. But yes, she is a character animation powerhouse and I love her to pieces.
Yeah, and so Bonnie is and it's like again funny you mentioned because tonight's she's teaching tonight
Yay.
at 8 p.m. Eastern
Oh
and
my god, that's
BOJ.
gonna be amazing.
So yeah, so and I think Bonnie's done so much mainstream
Toys,
I mean,
video games,
yes,
characters. I mean, like, she's worked for Gary Vaynerchuk, which makes me like
right.
fangirl like a
I know.
dumbass. I
I
mean,
know.
crazy. Most recently she voiced Scarlett Johansson in a
Mhm.
claymation
Yeah.
Lego crossover for the Jurassic Park like she's done some amazing things. She's a Funko Pop, for God's sake. Who can
And
say that?
she also does some incredible work with audio dramas right now as
Mhm,
well, and
mhm.
she's starting to head up our audio drama kind of
Yeah,
section of VOJ for us,
yeah,
which is really exciting. So yeah, so we're very thrilled to have Bonnie in that sense as
yeah.
well. So yeah. And that's the thing, you know, I'd say like, you know, when you're going to look at your coach too, it is interesting because VO Journey we have a variety of coaches and we realize, you know, for our sanity as well, there's so much more to this journey we're all on as well than just do this, do that, you know, click here, click there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
There is the community,
yeah.
there's the family, and I think that's where we also I don't know, what do you think about that? I mean, I think that's so important.
Yes, and I mean, again, I feel like I don't care what industry you're in. I feel like it's a professional responsibility to have a network where you can say that may not be my area, but I know someone you can talk to, or I know where to send you. Because if you don't have those abilities, I just don't feel you're worth your salt as a coach. I mean, how do you not function in that? So that's always kind of scary. And I mean, we see a lot of times where some of the coaches are very, I don't know if isolated is a good word, but they don't have that. They don't have that network either by choice or because the industry has kind of gone, "Oh, I don't want to deal with that person." And that's a scary proposition either way. Nobody can operate in this as an island, not even a coach. So,
And nobody and I will also go out and say no one's perfect, right? I mean, like, you know, I think as we've, you know, grown too, and we've added even we've really built more relationships,
yeah,
you know, I think the relationships are super important. But
they
sometimes, you know,
are.
somebody, you know, might get might not get a message, might feel certain. I mean, so you're always going to have, and that's why I always say when you go to certain groups, please make up your mind yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's nothing wrong with taking advice from people, but looking into it, but it's kind of like that trust but verify,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that you don't know until you've actually seen, because not everybody's experiences are the same, sadly. I mean,
Yeah.
there's that as well.
Yeah, I agree.
But I do think that for us, that community is so important, and we spend every week. I mean, we meet every week
Yeah.
with all of our kind of, I don't know, our staff, but our group, our group that runs VOJ, and that's our number one time. How do
Yeah.
we make sure that as a family we're moving in the right direction together?
Yeah. I would say yes.
Oh wow, we've got something from LinkedIn. That's what I'm talking about. That's a comment from LinkedIn.
What?
Russell says, "Yeah, I know. That's we don't get a lot of comments from LinkedIn."
Sweet. Okay, cool.
Let's see. Russ says, "I agree with Gabby on this very point. With the
Oh,
reason why
okay.
newer voices are trying to be coaches. Ironically, I've decided to get into coaching as well. Though when I advertise it, I do state explicitly that I am an intro to intermediate coach, and I present what I can help with, because there are so many who just state they are coaches, and to the newcomer, that's all exclusive." I mean, yeah. I mean, that's nice. I mean, that's yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with putting yourself out there,
No.
especially like. It's funny because when I got in again, when I got into voiceover, I was getting away from teaching. I'd been
Little
a
did you
teacher for like
know.
12, 13 years to that point, and I was like, I want to get back into performance, right? Because I miss it, because I was just
Oh
teaching
my
acting and
gosh.
theater for years, right? And so forth, and I
That's
wanted to get back
so
into performing
funny.
myself, right? But then, I realized as time has gone, I realized that this is truly a love. I love teaching. So
Yeah.
there is, and I love working with people and seeing that aha moment. Like last night in our Acting 101 class, it was so much fun. We were working on creativity and giving permission to play and to explore and to go, take a script and completely turn it on its head and do something that you would never think that script would be done with it. Right. And it was so incredible to see the creativity. Everybody was there, did such an amazing job. But the point is I love that. Like that's fun to me. That's fulfilling.
Yeah.
As well. So Ruben did, oh my God, Ruben enjoyed, they did this thing together. It was like a duet thing, and it was absolutely incredible. Anyways,
Nice.
So
hey, tomorrow we can pick up the conversation. We can talk more about some of these methodologies of different coaches, some of the things you can expect from coaching. I think that expectations are a big deal, right? I think we should, as students, all of us, be able to set reasonable expectations for what our coaching will achieve. And that's something we can unpack.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for being with us today. Really appreciate it. If you're in the I guess the area for this store, make sure you prepare. I was there getting stuff today, and the guy was like, "Yeah, we're all at Walmart. We're all out of water. We're all out of it." We all go, because I'm like, yeah, because he's like, we had to, because I was trying to get
all the bread's gone.
Right. Everything's being gone. So, there's, if nothing more, in the southeastern Virginia, half an inch of snow and Walmart's emptied out. We prepare.
Yep.
We prepare. All right, everybody, you have a good one. Take it easy. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.
Bye, guys.